From the moment I first got my hands on Apple's new AirTags, I knew I had to test how good the technology was at tracking stolen goods. So I put an AirTag underneath my bike seat, left it outside and unlocked every day until the damn thing was stolen. If you haven't seen that video yet, well, the experiment was a success. My bike was stolen and a few days later I managed to get it back in my possession. I was thoroughly impressed. So when I heard about a company that sells an e-bike with built-in Find My compatibility and GSM cellular tracking, I knew I had to get my hands on one. Well, that bike is the Vanmoof S3. In this video, I'll be sharing my experience with this very slick looking e-bike, and of course, I'll be putting its tracking technology and theft protection to the test. So the first thing you'll notice about the Vanmoof lineup is that they are by no means cheap. Both the S3 and X3 will set you back $2,300 US or 2,200 euros if you're in Europe. Nevertheless, I had to order one. About a week later, the bike finally arrived in this huge box. Inside the box, you get a bike charger, tire pump, some wheel reflectors, a Vodafone SIM card for the cellular tracking, an instruction manual, a toolkit for the assembly, and lastly, a celebratory whistle for when your bike is all set up. Assembly is relatively straightforward, but I wouldn't say it's a breeze. And if you're unlucky like me, this can happen. It arrived faulty. So my Vanmoof arrived with two issues. The first was my seat post was completely jammed and would not adjust in height whatsoever. It seems during assembly someone taped the seat protector with masking tape, which is now jammed deep inside. I tried to loosen the post with some WD-40, but I still couldn't get it to budge. I also found a small tear on the left handle sleeve. Not a big deal, I know, but when you pay 2,200 euros for a bike, I swear this stuff always happens to me. Naturally, I informed Vanmoof about the issues, but more on that later. The bike was still fully functional, so I downloaded the Vanmoof app, paired her up with my phone, and took her out for a spin. I bought a drone. So I must admit the Vanmoof is by far the best looking e-bike I've ever laid eyes on. Typically, when you imagine an e-bike, you probably imagine something like this. Big, bulky, ugly. Well, the Vanmoof, as the Dutch pronounce it, is nothing like that. It's slick, modern, and minimalistic. I really love the aesthetic. The bike comes with a really cool futuristic looking dot matrix display, which provides information such as your battery life and speed. You'll find two buttons on the handlebar. The left button functions as a digital bell and is also used for unlocking the bike. And on the right side is your boost button for accelerating, which brings us to the riding experience. There's no other way to describe riding a Vanmoof other than it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. It's the same kind of fun as riding an electric scooter, only it feels much safer. Now, since the Vanmoof is an electronic assist bike, you will need a pedal in order for the boost to work. But honestly, it's effortless. In fact, once you hit the boost button, the pedals are basically moving your legs for you. The bike's gear shift is automatic, which is really cool, but also a little weird at first, and it doesn't always work that well. Sometimes it makes weird gear shift decisions, which can make riding unnecessarily strenuous. In terms of speed, the European version goes 25 kilometers per hour, and the US version is a tad faster, going 20 miles per hour. As for range, you can expect to get about 37 to 93 miles or 60 to 150 kilometers in distance. It's pretty decent. Unlocking the bike is as simple as pushing the left button when your phone is nearby, or you can unlock the bike via the Vanmoof app. Locking the bike can also be done via the app, or you can simply align this rear wheel locking mechanism and give this little knob a light tap with your foot. So the S3 looks and performs great, but that also makes it a target for theft. Thankfully, Vanmoof have implemented several theft protection measures. For starters, if the bike is tampered with when locked, the bike will make a very loud, intimidating warning sound. If the tampering continues, the alarm will get louder and more continuous. Now, this may not sound that loud on camera, but trust me, it's not quiet. But if the alarm fails and your bike is stolen, you'll be able to track your bike down with Find My on your iPhone. I was personally able to track down my stolen bike using an AirTag, so I already know this technology works extremely well. But a clear benefit with the Vanmoof is that the Find My technology is built into the bike itself, making it extremely hard to disable without causing damage to the bike. So to test the Vanmoof's Find My capabilities, I took the bike for a ride around the city to see how many times its location would get detected. As a control, I left my iPhone at home, and I also attached an AirTag to the rear of the bike so that I could compare those results with the Vanmoof's. And as you can see, both the AirTag and Vanmoof were more or less the same in terms of how many location updates were sent. So the Vanmoof's integrated Find My is just as effective as an AirTag, which is great. The two drawbacks are that one, the Vanmoof doesn't have a U1 chip for precision finding, which can definitely come in handy once you come within close proximity of your stolen bike. And two, the Find My is powered by the Vanmoof's battery. So if your bike's battery runs dead, so does your tracking. It would be great to see Vanmoof implement a small backup battery to solve this issue. So how does the Find My tracking compare with the Vanmoof's built-in GSM tracking? Funnily enough, I couldn't find any videos about this on YouTube. So to test it out, I thought screw it. Let's see if we can get this bike stolen. So I left my Vanmoof out in the city for a couple of days. To activate the GSM tracking, you simply mark your bike as missing on the Vanmoof app. Quick side note on this, Vanmoof offers an additional peace of mind theft service where if your bike is stolen, they will send their bike hunters to go out and retrieve your bike for you. If they fail to retrieve your bike, they'll give you a replacement bike of equal or better value. This additional service costs 348 euros in Europe and $398 in the US. If you have purchased this add-on, do not attempt what I'm about to do unless you've lost your bike, because it will alert the bike hunters. So once you've marked the bike as missing, Vanmoof will send you an email with a tracking link. Well, after leaving the Vanmoof in the city for a couple of days, the results were really surprising. I honestly thought that the GSM tracking would be far more accurate than Find My, however, that wasn't the case at all. As you can see, the location pings were few and far between, and not only was the search radius large, but the accuracy was way off. My bike was actually situated over here. Now, when you compare this to Find My, which was almost dead accurate and was giving me updates every 5 to 10 minutes, it really makes you wonder why even have the GSM tracking in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not completely useless. I mean, if you're out living in a rural area where Find My won't work very well, then it could prove itself handy. Same goes for if you're an Android user and you don't have access to Find My. Now, as great as the theft protection is on this e-bike, not everyone has a spare 2,200 euros in their back pocket. So how can you protect your bike without breaking the bank? Well, you could strap an AirTag to the bottom of your seat like I did, but it's hardly a perfect solution. The AirTag makes audible beeps, which can alert the thieves of its presence, and it's easily removable once found. Well, that's where the sponsor of today's video comes into play. The smart folks at Mako have developed this little beauty called the Mako Trace. It's a stealthy AirTag mount which cleverly disguises your AirTag as a rear bike reflector. Not only that, but the mount is fitted with a soundproof foam which reduces the AirTag noise levels by up to 35 decibels. Now, I tested this on my bike to ensure the claims were legit, and the mount pretty much makes the AirTag inaudible. Have a listen. The Mako Trace is made with glass-filled nylon, which gives it an unimpeded detection range for the AirTag. I personally did a range test using the Mako Trace and was able to get a connection from about 50 meters away, which substantially outperformed the AirTag mounted under my seat. Bike theft is a really big issue, not just in Europe, but in many countries. So if you want to protect your bike, I truly believe this is the perfect product to pair up with your AirTag. If you'd like to support this product, you can find more information on the Mako Trace Kickstarter page. Link for that is in the description below. So is the Vanmoof worth the hefty price tag? Well, it really depends on how often you'd be using the bike. If you're living in a city and you need something to ride to work and back every day, then sure, the bike itself would be fantastic. It's built well, it looks amazing, it's fun to ride, and the theft protection gives you peace of mind. But there's one other aspect you need to consider, and that's Vanmoof's customer service. As you know, my S3 arrived with some issues, and well, communicating with Vanmoof hasn't been the best experience for me. Since I'm living in Germany, the only means of contact is via the email or their live chat. There's absolutely no phone support, which is really frustrating when you pay 2,200 euros for an e-bike which arrives faulty. The live chat is really frustrating because you have to wait an hour or two before getting a response, and if you miss their message and don't reply, they close off the chat. I swear everyone has experienced this. I hate live chats. So once I brought these issues to the attention of Vanmoof, they were pretty slow to respond and were initially only offering me tips on how to fix the bike myself, and none of which worked. But after a few emails back and forth, they finally offered to replace my bike, which is great, but that now means I have to disassemble the bike, put all the protection padding back on with cable ties, and since I threw away my cable ties, I have to go out and buy some new ones. It's annoying. And Vanmoof have made it very clear that if you don't repackage the bike correctly and it gets damaged during transport, well, then the liability is on you, which doesn't entirely feel right to me. Now, when I looked online, I noticed a lot of other customers have also experienced issues with delayed deliveries, bike malfunctions, and each story seems to end in frustration. Their Trustpilot score is 3.0, which is not that great, and the majority of the bad reviews all point to a lack of after-sales support and poor customer service. Definitely something to consider before making the sizable investment. I hope Vanmoof can improve on this because the product itself is actually pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.